Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, as you guys know, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. As you guys know, it helps my channel, so make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. But guys, I want to get into this story. Guys, I don't know if you guys remember, I did a live stream a long time ago when this news actually broke out, and that was about Usyk and Canelo. Usyk has put more flame to that fire, where he's basically said he's not ruling out a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Now, there was a lot of talk prior to the Bivol fight that Canelo could fight Usyk. Could Canelo beat Usyk? And I think we all unanimously agreed that Canelo has no chance against Usyk. Usyk is just too big. But prior to the fight, there was people out there that, I think most of us unanimously agreed, there was people out there that thought that Canelo had a chance. After the Bivol fight, I think it was quite clear that Canelo's not unbeatable, and if he goes up too many weight classes, that it will be too much for him. And let's be brutally honest, most people now don't even pick him to beat Bivol again. But I want to read out what Oleksandr Uysk has to say. So Oleksandr Uysk, who's looking absolutely huge ahead of his fast approaching return with Anthony Joshua, has been asked what his plans are to do after the rematch in Saudi Arabia, history providing he gets the win. Obviously, he wants to fight. Spoke about the fight with Tyson Fury as well as the one with Canelo Alvarez. He says, this is what Usyk had to say. Yes, when the rematch is over, I think the Tyson Fury fight won't want to miss an opportunity to unite all the belts. I think it is possible. God granted it will be so. To fight Canelo Alvarez, I would have to lose 12 kg. It will be a freak fight. I think firstly I need to do what I have to do at heavyweight, and then maybe arrange such a fight with Canelo Alvarez. But the fight with Canelo Alvarez potentially involves big money, so I'm not ruling out the possibility that it will happen. Baby, I know that. So basically, what Usyk is saying, that the money, he would come down to effectively cruiserweight to fight Canelo Alvarez if Canelo Alvarez is interested. I'm not so sure Canelo would be going down that route. Canelo might do, who knows? Canelo's got defeats now on his record. He might not care if he gets another L. He might dare to be great, so to speak. But I think the Bivol fight might have been a lesson to Canelo, and I don't think Canelo Alvarez is going to go up and fight Usyk. But if Usyk wants it, who knows? We don't know. Canelo is a warrior, and Canelo might decide. It says it would be a real stunner if Usyk did fight Canelo. The thought when such a matchup was ever first mentioned is that Usyk is a small heavyweight, then maybe Canelo, in a real attempt to achieve greatness, could maybe possibly just tackle the former undisputed king and maybe possibly have a shot at winning. But look at Usyk now and ask yourself, is he a small heavyweight today? Usyk does look to have some added serious muscle to his frame. This is a result of simply brutal training regime, and we could see a totally different fighter on August 20th. And Fury, despite what he may say to the contrary, and Canelo will be watching Usyk Joshua too, it could be that Usyk, as special as he has looked, has not peaked as a fighter. So here's how I see it. For me, Canelo Alvarez can't beat Usyk. I don't care what. The only way Canelo would beat Usyk is if Usyk, after going to heavyweight, drains himself coming back down to cruiserweight, and he's not the same fighter, and Canelo beats him up because of that. If Usyk is what the Usyk we saw at cruiserweight and the Usyk that we've seen at heavyweight, then Canelo has no shot. If Bivol was difficult for Canelo, then this guy moves even more. This guy is even better with his feet. He's, in my opinion, a better fighter than Bivol. He's fast. And here's the thing. For me, he can physically walk. Like, I don't think Bivol could go gung-ho with Canelo. Like, I don't think Bivol could go toe-to-toe. This man can go toe-to-toe with Canelo. And I think he would batter Canelo toe-to-toe. Like Joshua was getting bullied at times by Usyk. Joshua was getting pushed back. Usyk is a different level of fighter. Like, he's even better than Bivol. 2 gold medals, a unified, undisputed cruiserweight champion and a unified heavyweight champion. I can't see Canelo beating this guy. if I'm totally honest. I think Canelo would get wiped out against Usyk, and I mean that. I think Bivol, he can win Canelo. I wouldn't pick him, but I think he can win against Bivol. Usyk, no chance. Usyk is too good. I've always been an admirer, and I actually think Usyk is the best fighter in the world today. I've openly said that I think he doesn't get the recognition. I think he's gone to people's backyard. The fight that I really want to see, I think Usyk will beat Joshua. Some people think Joshua wins. I think Usyk will win. The fight that I really want to see is the Tyson Fury fight. But Oleksandr Uysk and Canelo Alvarez is what Steven, my friend Steven, would call a gimmick. Is it a gimmick? No, Usyk's got nothing to gain apart from the money. He's not chasing greatness fighting a guy in Canelo. But again, if Canelo beats Bivol, then goes on to beat Beterbiev, which again is a big if, then I wouldn't begrudge Canelo, because I do think, although people are saying, oh, Usyk is massive and this, that, and the other, I still don't think Usyk is a big heavyweight, and I do think Usyk could make cruiserweight, and I think Usyk is a machine, by the way. I think the guy's a phenomenon, like the way he trains, and he's just brilliant. Usyk is just a great fighter. The man swims like 7 hours, apparently, non-stop. He's just a machine. Usyk is a machine. But to be brutally honest with you, I think Canelo, I just don't see how that fight Canelo could win. If Usyk isn't compromised anyway, handicapped in any way, I don't see Canelo winning that fight. I think it's a non-competitive fight as well. I'll go as far as saying, and you guys know I like Canelo. I think I'm a Canelo fan. But, these type of matchups, they're non-competitive. It's not a fight. It's a one-sided drubbing, really, when you think about it. And for me, I wouldn't like to see it. I wouldn't like to see it because I don't think Canelo would have any chance. It's nice to talk about. It's nice to talk about these fantasy matchups, but we've already seen that Canelo's probably hit his ceiling at light heavyweight. To go up to cruiserweight and then not just fight any old cruiserweight. When guys move up that many weight classes, like Roy Jones went up and fought John Ruiz. He didn't fight Mike Tyson. He didn't fight the best heavyweight at the time. He fought John Ruiz. You have to pick and choose when you're moving up and giving up so much weight and size. Canelo Alvarez, like I said, if Usyk's in his prime, he's at his best. There's no way Canelo, who's a naturally small fighter, even for super middleweight. Some people don't even think he could beat Benavidez. Some people think Benavidez beats Canelo, which I don't think so. I think Canelo beats Benavidez. But moving up and fighting a prime Usyk, you've got no chance. You've got no chance. I think we've seen that Canelo's not Superman now. Canelo's a great fighter, and he deserves a lot of credit. He's one of the best of this generation, without question. Resume-wise, is probably the best of this generation. But in terms of going up and fighting bigger men, fighting guys that are way bigger, he is beatable. Canelo is beatable for these bigger guys, without question. So, even prior to watching the Bivol fight, I thought Usyk would beat him. Now I'm even more confident, because I think if Bivol's style was wrong for Canelo, this man's style is even worse. And it's even worse because Usyk is even bigger. He's stronger physically. He could walk Canelo down. And Canelo's power would have no impact on Oleksandr Uysk. No impact. Canelo's not a massive puncher for super middleweight, really, when you think about it. Those guys are able to absorb his shots. Bivol was able to absorb his shots at light heavyweight, and Bivol's small. Usyk is 6'3". Yeah, that's 3 inches taller than Bivol. He's also physically way bigger than Dmitry Bivol. Way bigger. Look at the size of the man. He's built like a house. So if Bivol was big, Usyk is a monster. He's 3 inches taller and how much more wider. And he's a fleet-foot fighter, fast, quick. Maybe not fast for Canelo, because Canelo's a naturally slighter guy, but nevertheless he'll still be fast. And that's not really a competitive matchup. As great as Canelo is, we need to start realizing that these fights. Usyk wants it because Usyk knows it's a less risky fight for him and it's a big payday. So I can understand why Usyk wants it. Of course, Usyk wants it. If you're Usyk, why wouldn't you want it? Of course, you want to fight against the guy that's the biggest name in boxing, and potentially an easy payday because you're fighting a guy that's so much smaller. Like I said, I think, would Canelo take this fight? I don't think so. But you never know. You know, we've seen worse in boxing. But Canelo, like they said, if he dares to be great or something and goes up and does it. But I don't really buy this dare to be great when it's a non-competitive matchup, because we're talking about a guy in Usyk who's so accomplished as an amateur and as a pro. We're talking about a guy with no really. There's no margin for error for Canelo, really. The only way Canelo can win the fight is if you compromise Usyk. You basically handicap Usyk, and then Canelo won't get the credit anyway. If Canelo beats Usyk, no one's going to believe it. People are going to say the only reason Canelo won because Usyk was drained or Usyk wasn't the same. So even if Canelo beats Usyk, which would be a massive achievement, you probably have some people come out and say, well, you know, Usyk was compromised. Oh, he lost weight and he wasn't the same fighter, this, that, and the other. Nonetheless, I don't think it's a fight that, you know, is going to happen. Just because I don't think Canelo's going to go there. And I think Usyk, from his part, I think he'd won it. He might even call Canelo out. If he cleans up at heavyweight, he might even call Canelo out. Because it makes for a big fight. I remember when Usyk called out Tony Bellew, and people were like, calling out Tony Bellew. Why? Because he knew Usyk looked at it, that's a big payday. That's a big payday, and it's an easy fight. Well, in his head, it was a comfortable win for him, and it turned out to be like that. And the same thing with Canelo. Because Canelo's an even bigger payday. And by then, if Usyk has beaten, just say, Joshua and beaten Tyson Fury, that makes Usyk a massive star. And Canelo might chase greatness because he might think, I have an opportunity here to beat someone like Oleksandr Uysk. Imagine what that does for your fighters are a bit delusional. Fighters like Canelo or any top fighter, they're a bit delusional. They don't look at the negatives. They look at the positives. They look at, what if I pull that off? Imagine where I go into world boxing. See, boxers are delusional. They don't look at it from a position where the way we look at it. Like, we would look at it and say, Canelo's got no chance. Canelo looks at it and think, imagine if I pull that off. Imagine where I belong in boxing history. That's the way Canelo looks at it. But we're more rational. Boxers are more delusional. And that's why they're in the position, and that's why they're multi-millionaires, and that's why Canelo is where he's at, because he don't listen to people like me and you. Hence why he's able to achieve the things that he's achieved, you know? So that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.